Because what we do in Creative Women, this is what we do. We connect, we inform, we educate, we inspire. And it's my honor and pleasure here to connect with, she's like my younger sister. The gift of this time for us, it's my honor to present Noha Hefny. We work together in many projects, and she is the CEO and founder of People of Impact. Many of the things I know now is because of Noha, about humanitarianism, about really making a social impact and how that impact can go big and wide. Thank you, Noha, for all what you have done, humanitarian, entrepreneur, and global corporate professional. The topic of Noha today is eliminating stereotypes against women in advertising and marketing. Welcome, Noha.
Thank you so much, Viola and Olga, for the very kind invitation. I'm very excited to be here and already very inspired. And as Viola mentioned, I chose today to talk about eliminating gender stereotypes in advertising and marketing, because I feel that we all, as entrepreneurs and business leaders, or even public sector leaders or artists, have a great role in shaping perceptions about women. So on this note, I wanted to start by talking a little bit, and I will not cover this whole slide because of the time limitation, but again, we need to look at some of the facts around gender inequalities. And what I'm going to focus on is really the inequality in the workforce, because the inequalities range from socioeconomic to leadership inequalities. So I'll just choose one of these statistics that I find very striking, and it's that women earn 23% less than men today in the world, and they earn only 10% of the world's income. And if you see this, I mean, these numbers are shocking. And if we go again and we look at, the number of women impacted by poverty or, any of the socioeconomic inequalities, you'll find that women and girls represent the majority of those mostly impacted. Again, if we look at the pandemic, again, the 70% of the global healthcare workforce is women, and therefore we are heavily impacted. So again, when we look at this picture and image of inequalities, against women, really, what comes to mind is also the invisible barriers to leadership and to representation. And a big part of that is stereotyping. And we all know what the definition of stereotyping is. It's generalizing or having a generalized belief about a particular group of people. The only thing that we often don't realize about unconscious bias or stereotyping is that it can really have a serious and harmful impact. It leads to discrimination, it leads to harassment, and it leads to a loss of opportunity. So as artists and creative women who every day are sending different messages out there to the world, we have a great responsibility, and as businesses. So the problem really, as I mentioned, is about not seeing the problem. It's about unconscious bias. We make our judgments based on, conditioning that has emerged from childhood. And as I mentioned, it can be harmful. So many research has showed us that, by UN Women and by other actors, that representation matters. How we represent women in marketing and advertising has a very big impact on the women themselves, but also on society. And it matters because it reinforces limiting beliefs for the women themselves who start to believe a certain stereotype. And then for the society, it leads to discrimination, harassment, and loss of opportunity. And stereotypes manifest early and influence our life choices. So girls as young as 6-year-old are less likely to see themselves as brilliant problem solvers or thinkers just because they're girls. P&G and Unilever are two companies that have undertaken a lot of work in this area, particularly to eliminate stereotypes in their advertising. And here again, one of the P&G research shows us that 80% of girls during the puberty report pressure to please others, feeling that they need to be perfect, and many, as a result, are opting out of important opportunities in their lives. Unilever as well talks about that this is not only pertaining to women, but it also pertains to men. So the man box, being self-sufficient, acting tough, all of these are really stereotypes that we impose on different genders. So there are different types. And again, I won't drill through the slide, but stereotypes can be about roles, about characteristics or behaviors. It can be, mocking people who are unconventional or not conforming to stereotypes. It can be about sexualization, objectification, or body image. So all of these are different ways that we can exercise this unconscious bias. And we know also from studies conducted by UN Women and other parties that negative portrayals of women in the media shape perceptions and opinion, but also it's interesting to see what women themselves have to say. So 40% of the women don't really see that the ads that exist in today's world reflect who they are. And 50% of these ads are showing a negative and not progressive stereotype of women, and 3% showed of ads showed clever or funny women. Basically, these are all very interesting numbers. So I'll show you now some examples of some of these ads. So here is a Dr. Pepper ad that's saying, it's not for women. Why is it not for women? This is clearly a stereotype or a false claim. And then here again, this is a Nike campaign about the men versus women challenge, which is, saying one more thing for men to rule. Why is it that men should win the race? It could be the women as well. And here again, this is a very traditional standard stereotype, which is about Mother's Day ad here by Mr. Clean. And it says, get back to the job that really matters. It's showing the woman directly taking care of the man and doing housework. So our messages matter. Advertising and marketing can actually be a force for good and drive positive change for women. We need to eradicate all these harmful gender-based stereotypes to ensure that we live in a balanced and inclusive world. And a lot of companies are now rising up to address this. A lot of individuals as well who are passionate about the issues have advocated for that. Some positive examples of this action, you can see here an aerial ad in India where both men and women are collaborating at home with the washing. Another one from China, which is a cosmetic brand that created an online film to empower and celebrate single women in China, and so on. And lastly, in this graph, you have women engineers to increase, the amount of online pictures that depict women in non-traditional male-dominated roles. So again, there is a lot that we can do, and there are brands that get it. And here again, these are two examples of showing women having, superpowers, or, with a football versus a Barbie, for example. So I want to stop here and share a quick ad that I personally like a lot, which again is a positive effort in order to transform the stereotypes.
Сделаны наши девчонки, ла-ла-ла-ла-ла-ла-ла-ла-ла-ла. Из цветочка, из звоночка, из переглядок и мармеладок сделаны наши девчонки. Из железа, из стремлений, из самоотдачи, из сражений сделаны наши девчонки. Из упорства, из красы, которой гордится вся нация, сделаны наши девчонки. Из синяков, из
again, here we see that we have a choice on how we depict women and girls in ads. So what else can we do as people? I'll go very quickly, Olga, because I know I might be running out of time. But first and foremost, as people, it all starts with the self. So we need to work on identifying our biases, particularly those that are unconscious that we grew up with. We need to let go of judgments about others, particularly women to women, and start supporting each other and reflecting that in our stories, in our communications. We need to develop our own self-confidence to be able to address the effect of stereotypes on society. And we need to take proactive collective action and ensure we seek diverse feedback on marketing messages and ads we create. So it all starts with us. As organizations, this is an investment. This is not a nice to do on the side of business. It is something that should be looked upon strategically with top leadership commitment, investing in transforming, organizations to eliminate these stereotypes and to eliminate discrimination and ensure higher representation of women in leadership in order to ensure that their perspectives are reflected in the kind of marketing and ads that go out. The impacts and the benefits are generous and big. Stereotypes clearly have a negative impact on business. Women control most of the purchasing decisions in the world. Diverse companies that do not stereotype against women are more accepted by customers. Diverse teams generate diverse ideas. By each playing our part in our organizations and lives, we shape the perceptions of millions. And partnerships are key to create a more powerful impact. So let's build a generation free from bias and discrimination, and also help and work to integrate that into educational systems. On another level, for businesses, the impact is that millennials, 76% of millennials want to work for responsible employers. So it is an opportunity for all of us to drive positive change for women, to control the content we create, to deliver an impact that is far beyond the negative and harmful effects of stereotyping women. And the way we market will affect the perception about ourselves and others. So let's collaborate as a community together to create, a balanced and more equal world for women and men as equal partners. Thank you very much.
Thank you, dear Noha, our special advisor to In Creative Women. Thank you for this very enriching exposition, really. We know about it, but it's so nice to know statistic and information. Thank you.
Thank you, Viola. Thank you all.
Yes.